Good morning, folks. Welcome to this morning's Soul Man Surgery. This morning I have got my lovely friend Susan Watson on, and we are talking about lots of ways in which you can help to self-regulate, dial down stress, and we're going to be showing you lots of practical tips as well. So, amazing morning. I'm going to be showing Susan my wet noodle. And there's lots of you sitting in the background saying, all right, I don't know if I want to join in on this, but promise you, you will absolutely love today. So enjoy the show. Good morning, Sue. How are you?
All right. Morning, Stephen. Ready to go?
I seen you giggling there backstage. I was like, I'm going to show Susan my wet noodle.
I just have a wee laugh.
So this morning, obviously, we're talking about ways in which you can dial down stress. Now, we've spoken about this subject before, but I think that, based on what's going on right now, I think people are really, really struggling with stress and managing their own stress. And, maybe a few people have forgot or not seen the hints and tips that we've shared before. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's doing it. So people might have actually heard it and watched the video and know what to do, but they might not actually be doing it, because you've got to sometimes be reminded, and you've got to introduce it into your life so it becomes actually a lifestyle, really, of stress management.
Absolutely. And the hints and tips that we'll be sharing today, they are on your YouTube channel as well, Susan, aren't they?
Yeah, most of them are, yeah.
Yeah, so you'd be able to go onto YouTube as well. Susan's YouTube channel is just rolling across the bottom of the screen there. So, Susan, talk to us about ways in which we can dial down stress. And we're going to do practical demonstrations as well, aren't we?
I'm going to talk a wee minute about what actually stress is. Because a lot of people think when they've got anxiety and stress, anger, whatever it is, that they think it's how they're made, as in they're born that way, and that's just something they're going to have to live their life with. It is the case, and it's not the case. It is the case in the sense that every single person can have stress, anxiety, panic. So it's not specific to an individual as to how they're made. It's your nervous system that's in your body. People think it's up here in their head. The way to manage it is actually your body. Our nervous system needs stress. Our body needs stress. We need stress. It's really energy to get us moving, keep us motivated, get us doing things and achieving. Stress can be really good for us. It can make us focus more, all the things we want. There's healthy stress. Comes a problem when we're living in a state of highly activated, very high levels of stress that go into what we call toxic stress. And we'll all go into that, all of us, in and out all day. But when we're living there, we're staying with toxic stress, what happens is there's a part of our nervous system, sympathetic nervous system, that becomes dominant. And when that's dominant and we're living in that state of excess stress all the time, it goes to a part of our brain that then believes we're under threat, that we're under attack, we're in danger. So that means we're actually living every minute of our day feeling unsafe, feeling threatened. That is not a good place to live. So therefore you will feel anxious. Of course, if you feel threatened and in danger, you're going to feel really anxious and worried. That's where anxiety comes in there. You will feel overly stressed. You won't be able to sleep right. It'll affect your eating habits, affect your body and your weight. You'll get panic, anger. And eventually, if you're staying with that dominant sympathetic nervous system, it actually affects your organs in your body, and you'll start to get physical pains and ailments. So managing stress is so really, really important. And you know what? It isn't actually hard to do, to move out of that part of your nervous system into rest and digest, but it takes practice, and it takes bringing it into your lifestyle to actually make these changes, so then they become automatic, and then you can live that life. You'll always go back and forward into the toxic stress, but you won't be living there. I think that's the important point.
Yeah.
Did I yabble on a bit there?
No, not at all. And would you say that that's where that whole dis-ease thing comes in? You know, dis-ease causes dis-ease in the body and in the organ.
Yeah, because if you're not at ease, you're stressed, and that stress does cause damage to your organs. Well, you stop using the organs. When you're in toxic stress and you're in that state of feeling that you're under constant threat and really anxious and worried all the time, your frontal lobe, your thinking brain shuts down, so you get brain fog, and it's really hard to take in new information. It's hard to learn, but also the organs that you don't need to either run away or fight or whatever it is to survive start to shut down. So that's why people might have issues like their bladders. Sexual organs don't function as in reproductive organs. You may not feel hungry or want to eat because your digestive system can close down. You get a dry mouth. The reason you're getting a dry mouth is because your digestive system closes down. All the muscle comes away from your extremity. All the blood comes away from your extremities and goes to your big muscles in your body to make you strong, to fight. But it's not good to stay in that sense all the time. Not good at all.
And see when people are going through like real periods of stress, you know, I've been there myself, where I've been through like real periods of stress, and I always get this feeling like I just want to run away.
Well, do you know what? What are you going to do if you're under threat and in danger? Well, if you're in danger and your body and your mind's believing in the very second you are, your life is at risk, one of the things you want to do is run away, isn't it?
Yeah,
instinctive, run.
So I suppose that kind of links beautifully into that, doesn't it? It's you know, that's what our instinct is to run away.
You could either run, fight, or lie on the ground and pretend you're dead. And I think that's actually depression, because you go down the ladder and you go really numb. But it's your nervous system pulling you down into you don't feel, and you're just closed in.
That's amazing. It's not amazing. It's not amazing, but it's amazing to see the connection, the link there. I can see everybody's starting to comment as well. We will come to your comments. I do promise you guys, we'll come to your questions and your comments at 10 o'clock. But what we want to do is give you some practical hints and tips and advice on how you can dial down stress. And this will work with adults, children, old people, even your animals. Your animals to do it, wouldn't?
You know what we can learn? Excuse me, we can learn a lot from animals, because if you watch the animals in the nature programs, when they get really frightened or they're getting attacked, when they're getting away, they shake. That's right, they shake their body, and that's them actually shaking off that excess energy, which is stress, because stress is energy. Then they can just run away and do their thing. But as human beings, what we do is we get tested, we tense all up, we keep all that energy and stress in. It makes us ill. What we need to do is learn to move our body more, because that actually releases it, which is one of the hints I'm giving today. Don't freeze if you get stressed. That's what we do. We tense up because all the muscles are getting really tight. We need to shake it off. Move your body. Dance like crazy. Do something. Anything to get rid of that excess energy.
Shaking your body makes a difference. It really does.
Does stress that's the thing you're looking at. Look on stress as energy. Your body's got too much energy. It's holding on to too much energy. It becomes toxic.
And is that the same with children as well? You know, like children who have, like, I suppose, ADHD, ADD, all of these extra things that are going on. You know, I would see them as having too much energy as well. You know,
well, I think things with ADHD and autism, things like that, it's a totally different group of people altogether. However, all of them are tends to be a general thread, but they're all impacted by high anxiety. So teaching people that these self-regulation exercises would definitely help. Definitely help.
Brilliant. Siobhan's saying there, go a walk in the fresh air as well. That's a good way to manage stress and deal with stress.
Yeah.
So
it's getting outside nature is good for clearing the mind, but for self-regulating the body, we need to do a wee bit more than that, because this nervous system is high alert, danger. So even if you're outside, it would still think there's risks there.
Yeah, do you know, that's a really good pickup, Susan, because I can often feel quite stressed. It's not often, but when I do feel stressed and I just go a walk, it doesn't really clear it for me. It makes me feel better because I've walked and I've done a bit of exercise, but the stress is still there when I come back.
It's not dialing down what's going on inside your body.
Yeah.
And that's why you'll get people with stress and anxiety that feel really uncomfortable outside. Maybe uncomfortable when they go into shops and that, because actually they're in that state of stress and they get that their danger increases, their level of danger increases. So you need to be able to bring it down.
Because a lot of people will say, you know, and that's something that I've definitely picked up on, you know, the last couple of weeks I've been doing mental health first aid, and lots of people, they're very good at advising when someone's feeling stressed. They're very good at telling you what to do, aren't they? You know, they're very good at saying things like, just go a walk, just listen to some music, just do this, just do that. When actually, if we could have hints and tips and methods in which we could just dial down that stress without needing to be told what to do by other people.
It's also identifying what works for you, because we've all got different personalities. Yes, all these things will work on a nervous system, but it's got to be something that a person feels that they'll use, that they feel drawn to. So there's no point in somebody knowing all these methods and not actually putting them into practice. That's why I keep them really simple and really basic, so they're easy to do. But also I give quite a big choice of things so that people can choose what they like. Because if you like it, you're more inclined to do it. But all these things will actually do it.
I do. I like doing them all. But do you know what's really interesting is that I love doing them all, but I forget about most of them until we revisit them. So, am I doing them daily? No. Am I doing them 300 times a day? No.
If you want to, like, self-regulation, the wet noodles are relaxing the body, right? We'll come to that, which is good, and it will dial down and take you out of that area, your nervous system that's all stressed. But you'll keep going back in it, but you can keep dialing down. But the self-regulation part is being able to recognize when you're starting to feel stressed, or you can feel your body tensing up, or you know you're going into a situation that normally causes stress or tension, to be able to use these exercises then as well. Because if you go into a situation that you know is going to be stressful and you're already stressed, you're setting yourself up just to go, poof, your brain switches off. But if you're going into it and you do these self-regulation exercises, dial it down, relax, let it go, and then go in, you're starting for a much better ballpark, and you'll be able to cope with that situation. And more importantly, you'll be able to think clearer and understand what's going on. That's really important too.
Yeah. I definitely used the wet noodle yesterday. We were in Asda doing our shopping, and it was so busy. And you know, you could feel everybody's stress because it was so busy. And see, by the time we got to the checkout, I was just like, right, okay, wet noodle.
I use it all the time. All the time.
You at the checkout, and I could feel my hands getting really heavy and my shoulders dropping down, and all that stress just leaving me. But walking around the supermarket, I was, you know, it's crazy. It
does work. And remember, I like to make it all dramatic and things, but in reality, it doesn't have to be that. I mean, all you're doing, and I'm doing it now, is just releasing the tension out of your whole body.
Yeah.
Nobody would know I was doing it. So I like to be all dramatic.
I said I was so tempted to lie on the floor yesterday at Asda.
So you can just demonstrate a wet noodle now, Stephen.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
And all a wet noodle is you want a full and complete relaxed muscle body. So every single muscle in your body relaxed. Now, what that does is in 1 second, it switches off your sympathetic nervous system, dials you right out of that toxic stress. If you can hold that between 8 and 10 seconds, your thinking brain comes on, your prefrontal brain comes on, so you can think clearer, learn quicker, save information, make better, clearer decisions. And that's the wet noodle. What I ask people to do is do that at least 100 times a day. And people go, 100 times a day. But what I'll say to you, if you do it for 1 second, 100 times a day, it's just a few minutes, really. And by doing that, you're actually keeping yourself out that toxic stress. I don't mean that you've got to have a tick box and tick it off 100 times a day. It's every opportunity you get, remember, just to fully and completely relax your body, knowing that you're taking yourself out that toxic zone. Or if you're going into situations that you normally feel stressful, just fully and completely relax your body. Or even if you're just aware your muscles becoming tense, just remember to relax your body. And that's the key to that. And it's not difficult. The hardest bit is actually remembering to do it.
It's great though. See, when you do it, you just feel this relaxation moving through your whole body. It's fantastic.
Mm. I do like it. I do like it a lot, and it can be fun in the family. You can actually, if you've got kids, start learning name that now. And that way, they're learning to manage their own stress and systems. Make it into a game. Right, come on, let's wet noodle. You know what I mean? All these sort of things make it fun.
Yeah, fantastic. So that's the wet noodle. What's your next one?
The other one that I quite like is it's a somatic exercise, as in mind-body connection, and it's quite simply putting a hand on your chest and a hand on your stomach. And if you just lean back, Stephen, close your eyes, and I want you just to focus your attention on what it feels like to have your hands in your body. Perhaps the temperature, the sensation, the weight. How safe does that make you feel?
Very.
And then just think inside your mind, don't say it out loud, just actually say, I am safe. This moment in time, I am 100% safe. Because we very rarely actually remind ourselves that. And that can be really very comforting. Do you like that one?
Yeah.
You looked really comfy. It is. There's lots of touch points. There's your shoulders, there's your elbows, your knees, your ankles, whatever works for you. The one I really like is my shoulders. I think I've mentioned that before. I really like that. I don't know if it's because it's crossing my chest, it's like a hug, and it just makes me feel really safe.
Yeah, that one
I
too.
I like it on my side. I lie on my side and do that, and it just calms me right down like that within a second. So that's my favourite one. I don't feel it the same when I'm like that. So I'm saying lying on my back, I don't feel it so much. If I turn on my side, it's like, for me, that works much better on my side. Again, it's individual, depends what's right for whoever's watching this. That's quite a good one as well. I use that at night. Sometimes I wake up and I have that, which I've always said, that wee bit anxiety. So I do that, lie on my side, and it switches it off. And I just go back to sleep. I never need to think it again. So it's good.
It's so interesting how just doing that across your chest, though, it can really, it's very comforting, isn't it?
Remember, we think our senses have been like our sight, our smell, our taste, our ears, and that, but our body, we've got sensory points in our body, right? Our body feels fear as much as we think it. So our body needs to be reminded. Our body has muscle memory. Our body remembers situations that perhaps our mind can't even remember. So at times our body needs to remember, you know what, you're okay, you're safe here. Let it go and give it a wee hug.
See, when you put your arms across your chest, we can't hear your microphone.
You know? You can't hear me. Well, there you are. That's that one. It's really good anyway. It's really good. Yeah. The next wee tip I'll give you today is breathing. Because when people get anxious or panicky or anything like that, it's very well known that they get told to change their breathing. Change their breathing. Now, what you'll usually get told is when you're doing your longer, slower breaths out, that's what levels the oxygen levels in that in your body. But if somebody's having panic, it's really hard for them to think how many breaths in them are taking, how many breaths out. Because remember, their brain's not working. They're not sitting with a decision-making, thinking brain. They're away in panic mode, right? They can't think. It's very hard to think. And it is. I think it's almost impossible. I think it's one of the hardest things to ask people to do. So the way I do it is, remember the hands behind the head? Can you do that, remember? Hands behind your head, push your elbows back, opens your ribs up. Oh, they make you have a big yawn, apparently. If you do that, put your hands behind your head and push your elbows back. It's opening up your ribs, which opens up a clear passage for your breath. So you're automatically doing full belly breaths, opening yourself up, which has the same impact as the 3 and 5 breaths, or 5 and 7, or whatever it was you were doing. But more importantly, I think, this is my belief, when we panic, our ribs close in, okay? And what it does is it squashes against the vagus nerve. Vagus nerve sends a SOS signal to your brain. Panic, panic, there's trouble here, which makes you feel absolutely hellish, right? But as soon as you do that and you open your ribs, you're releasing the vagus nerve, which then sends a signal, it's okay, or safe. So that's also the added benefit of that as well.
Something as simple as putting your arms behind your head, though, you can really feel that breath going right down into the diaphragm.
Yeah.
Or the belly for some people, So obviously when we're...
Yeah. Also, it's over and above that, it's changing the messages to your brain and what's going on inside you as well, inside your nervous system. So that's and it's really easy. And you didn't have to be able to think or count or anything like that. So I think that's quite a good one. I like that as well. Let me see.
What's next? Come on.
Right, well, what are we going to for actually dialing down stress? There's a body scan, the V10 to 1 body scan. Sometimes do that.
Yeah.
I sometimes do that on the back of the wet noodle. So, for example, I would ask you to wet noodle now. Just you do the wet noodle. Do the wet noodle, and I want you to pick a colour which to you represents peace and calm. Okay?
Yeah.
And as I count from 10 to 1, I want you to imagine that colour travelling from your head all the way to your feet, bringing with it peace and calm. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Just imagine yourself filled with all that colour, feeling calm and peaceful. But you are allowed to wake up now, Stephen.
I really enjoyed that. That was, see, when I done that, it felt really tickly. Is that normal to feel tickly?
Oh, we're all different, eh? The main thing is it does calm and relax you. Your mind loves colours, your mind likes images, whatever you feed it, it believes. You're feeding it this peace and calm. We're counting back the numbers backwards, which works with your thinking brain, your left brain, and what you start to do is just feel so much better. And you know what? That's literally seconds.
Yeah.
Do that. So it works really well.
Like I really enjoy that. That would be good to use with colour therapy as well, wouldn't it?
Well, I more or less do that, and when I'm helping people relax before I start, I talk about colour quite a lot. And same, you'll remember when I'm doing the kinetic shift, pulling fears and that out, it's all colours.
Aye, that felt like a silk scarf you were pulling out of my stomach that day. I was like, whoa! But it works.
Good. It works.
Yeah, it really does work.
And the last sort of self-regulation tip I'll give you today is the relaxed pelvic floor, right? Now, this is a biological change. You cannot have a relaxed pelvic floor and be in a sympathetic nervous system. So you cannot be in a state of overstressed, anxious, panic, or anything with a relaxed pelvic floor. The two don't go together. It's impossible. So as soon as you relax your pelvic floor, you come out of that extra stress zone. So it's the easiest way to describe it is imagine you're desperate for a pee, right? Absolutely desperate for a pee. So you're squeezing. Now I want no butt clenching here, right? All you're doing,
My bum.
no butt clenching. It's just that specific point of stopping yourself peeing without clenching your buttocks, right? And I want you to hold.
No, like
Then just let it.
In the way that men hold their pee, though.
Yeah, well, do you know what? It was a man who taught me this, and this is how he does it. The other way you can do it is touch your hip bones.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now sit on your hands and see how you can feel. Well, I hope you can feel the two bones in your butt as you sit on your hands.
Oh.
Press deeper. We've all got two bones in our butt, right?
Yeah,
and if you sit on them and you can feel them, and then you touch your two hip bones, right? Imagine right in the center of your body, right between these touch points, that's where you want to tighten.
Oh, I can feel that.
Right? That's probably a good way to explain it. If you tighten there, tighten that, really squeeze, and then let it go, and just release it, and you'll feel, and that switches off the stress.
You really do feel that. It's like a.
So perhaps that's the best way to explain to a man. Sit on your bum cheeks, press your hips, and it gives you sort of like a shape inside you, and then you tighten it in the middle.
That feels really good. Why does that feel so good?
You're switching off your stress, Stephen. And it actually really does work, because you cannot have a tense pelvic floor, a relaxed pelvic floor, and stress and tension. And if you think about it, nobody in the world would know you're tightening and relaxing that part. So you can do that anywhere, absolutely anywhere. But remember, you'll always go back into the toxic stress. So you've got to keep doing these exercises to pull yourself out. You look as if you went into some sort of zone there, Stephen.
Do you know, see, as I'm doing that, it feels like I'm very aware of the energy centers in my body, and I'm actually acutely aware that area of my body probably is the functioning as well as it should be.
Well, there you are.
But see, as I'm relaxing, that it feels. See, the only way I can describe it is it just feels warm, and it feels. I can feel all my energy kind of flushing down to that part of my body.
If you think that if that has been living in a state of absolute tension, it's not been getting relaxed, your energy's not flowing right there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's only when you're opening it back up and relaxing that you'll get that proper healthy flow of energy. So I would say that explains what you're feeling there.
It feels really nice. I know it sounds crazy, but it feels to me like when you're like that feeling before Christmas where you're really excited in your tummy, or
butterflies.
Aye, that's good. I like that one. That's probably the most effective the most effective physical sensation that I've felt inside my body. So.
Well, practice it, because the more you practice it, the better and easier it becomes.
I'm interested, like, obviously we've got people watching, and I'm interested to see, how are you guys finding that as well? How are you guys finding that technique that Susan's just shown us? Let us know in the comments. Cool. Any more?
One more, but I'll say is that some people, when you ask them to relax their body, they'll say, especially if they've been living with tension a long time, stress a long time, I find it really, I don't even know if my body's relaxed. I feel that I'm relaxing all the time, but they're not really. They're still really tense, because it's almost become that their body just is that way, and they don't know that, right? One way you can do it is if you curl your toes up really tight, Get your hands and squeeze your hands really tight. So your toes and your arms tight, 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 as hard as you can. You'll feel all your arms and legs tensing, and just let it go. By double tensing, really tensing all your body, and then letting go, you're releasing all that tension that you carry in your body.
Yeah, you can really feel that it flushes right through you quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I'll do one more because I like Stephen doing this because I'm really horrible at him. Drop your shoulders, Stephen. Drop your shoulders. Take a breath, nice and relaxed. And I want you just to let your jaw hang loose and open.
I can't even get a laugh.
Just let it hang, like you're catching flies. Come on.
Okay. You do it. I can't.
That's why I picked you. Right. If you let your shoulders drop and release all the tension in your jaw and let your mouth, your chin, your bottom part of your jaw just hang open and just let your tongue sort of rest against the back of your teeth or like that, yeah? Just sit like Stephen now. He looks really stupid, doesn't he? No, but the point is, we carry tension in our shoulders. We carry tension in our jaw. People get problems with their jaw, we grind their teeth, we get headaches, and that's all because of the tensions here. When you do what Stephen's do now, it releases and lets go of all that tension. And it's really good for your jaw, your teeth, your headaches, everything like that.
That actually does really good.
Perhaps it's not something you'll want to do too often in front of too many people, but it certainly works.
Yeah, you could do it, I don't know, lying in the bath or in your
I know. When I was working, I always seemed to have my shoulders up a lot more. And I was at the desk or in the office, and I'd always have sore necks, sore shoulders. And my dentist did give me one of these teeth sort of guard things because I grind my teeth at night. And this is before I knew all this stuff. And what I was doing, my jaw used to always click and actually, like lockjaw I used to get. My jaw used to be dislocated at times and stuff like that. And it was all due to carrying this tension. And once I learned how to release it, I've not had problems with that for years at all. So it really can make a huge difference.
That's amazing though, isn't it? How like something as simple as just feeling your jaw moving down the way can make such a big difference.
Think about when you're stressed, you sometimes feel yourself and your jaw gets really tight. It's almost like you can feel it right there. Letting it go, just releasing it. And it actually just goes, and it's just so good for you. It really is. And if anybody gets problems with headaches or their jaw or things like that, or neck and shoulders, you should try that because it can be really useful.
Yeah. We were, so in my meditation teacher training last week, we were speaking very much about breathing techniques. And I was showing them like different breathing techniques, I know that you've probably heard of them before. You've got like the 4 box breathing, you've got 4. My God, why can I not remember?
The numbers don't really matter as long as the out breath's going a longer breath. That's the bit that matters. So it could be like 4 and 7, 5 and 8. It doesn't matter. It's the out breath that's to be the longest breath. But if somebody's in a state of panic, they can't do them properly because they can't think. They're far better doing the arms behind their head one. But the other one that you're doing for like meditations and relaxations are very good. Very good. And they do relax you.
A lot of people actually forget that, when you are in that way of shallow breath, what happens is the diaphragm, which is the primary breathing muscle, the diaphragm, it can't contract properly. So then what happens is all the upper chest and shoulders, which are the secondary breathing muscles, they start kicking in. So then they become short and tight rather than the whole chest. Does that make sense?
What causes the panic? when you're starting to breathe up there is your carbon dioxide levels and oxygen levels aren't balanced in your body because you're not breathing right. That's why you do the shorter breaths in, the longer breaths out. It's to rebalance the oxygen and the carbon dioxide in your body. It's all the is your body trying to get the right amounts in to rebalance it. That's what that is. But you can sort that out by doing that too.
The mind and the breath, though, Susan, they are so intimately connected, aren't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We tend to think everything's up here, when in fact, really the thing to sort out isn't necessarily in your head, it's in your body. Absolutely. And I want to just add on what we're saying is for anyone out there who suffers anxiety, panic, overstress, and all the rest of it, that when your sympathetic nervous system's dominant, when you're living in that state long term, not just in and out, when you're living in that state, panic, anxiety, fear, anger, all these things are absolutely normal and absolutely expected for anyone with a dominant sympathetic nervous system. So it's not that it means there's something wrong as such, that these behaviours are expected for someone who has a sympathetic dominant system. And it's not changing the anxiety and the panic that needs done, it's changing the state of the nervous system, because that's what's causing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where people think, oh, I feel really anxious, I need to change my anxiety, or do you know what, I'm anger all the time, I need to change my anger. But if we work with the nervous system and make changes to that, which are changing lifestyles and how you actually manage your life in the world, then it has a knock-on effect to everything else as well.
Fantastic. So we're at 8 minutes past 10. We're going to throw out questions now. So I'm just going to very quickly go to the comments. So if you do have any questions, now is your chance to ask the Oracle Watson.
Oh, didn't he say that? I'll get the questions all wrong now.
So Iona is saying there, morning, my 10-year-old has learning disabilities and showing major signs of anxiety. How can I help my child?
I would just do things like the body scan and the wet needle, but make it, they're simple, it's just relaxing. Because all you can do is, if you can get your 10-year-old just to lie on the floor with you, just spread your gold on the floor, legs and arms, and just tell them to take deep breaths. And you could just count for 10 to 1, even just lying on the floor and doing nothing, or just do that, like let's go all floppy, you know, things like that. That'll really help as well.
Amazing. So any kind of like anxiety, I suppose as well, like see right now whilst people are homeschooling, I think that's quite a good tip, you know, like self-regulate your children all day long. You know, right guys, come on, that's us finished that half hour's worth of work. Get on the floor and let's...
Absolutely. Do it before you start work, because what did I say? If you do it before you start any studying or anything like that, your brain works better.
Yeah.
Do it before you start, and have even if it was like 15-minute, half-hour breaks, let's wet noodle, let's do this. You're resetting them, turning that dial, you stress down all the time.
Amazing. Mandy is saying they felt that I think she's saying that felt amazing. So when she was doing one of the what do you call them?
Exercises. That's good, Mandy. Keep doing them. Keep practicing it, because you'll really get the benefit of it. The more you do them, the more helpful they are.
James is saying, love this info, Susan.
Thank you, James.
I don't know if that's the praying hands or if it's high five. I think that's a bit of a debate that's going on. Then we have got Lynn saying, big difference. Love the way you two can giggle, very relaxing as well.
It's because we like to make a fool of each other.
We spend the whole day laughing. It's terrible. Especially when we're in each other's company as well, eh?
Oh, yes. It's good fun. Good fun.
Joanne is saying, I have tried all of these with you guys and each one felt amazing. It was like everything just flushed away. What an amazing feeling. How good is that?
That's great. And I promise you, Joanne, I mean, I say do it 100 times a day, but by that, it's every opportunity. Remember to do something. It absolutely changes your life. and changes your world. And I'm not just saying that because I was somebody that had masses of problems with anxiety and stress and all the rest of it. And I know the difference. That's why I got into this line of work. Keep doing it and you'll feel so much better.
I think that's the thing as well. You know, so many people, they're seeking external solutions for internal problems, whereas actually they've got all the solutions that they need just by dialing down stress.
Every single person that asks if they can come and see me for a session or do come along and see me, the first two things I always say is I am like a facilitator, right? All I'm doing is showing them how to do it. That all the magic, all the power, everything happens inside them, and actually they're making all the changes. I've no magic wand. I'm just showing them how to do it. They do the work and they actually do it. They will reap the benefits, because really all the magic and all the power is inside them. I'm just somebody that's, well, try this, try that, and sharing my knowledge and experience with them. But they are the change makers, not me.
Most definitely. And then you've got someone here as well, Lisa, saying this is really helpful. Thanks. I tried them already and really helped.
That's great, Lisa. It's good to hear. Really good to hear.
To think that there's so many people, at home feeling stress, and then that they're able to tune in on our surgery here and just be able to just in minutes bring that right down. What a difference.
Well, I spent over 40 years of my life thinking I was made wrong. And that literally, I believed I was made wrong. I was wired wrong. I didn't fit in the world. I was made differently. I just had to accept that this is how I feel, and the challenges I was facing with my mind and body and everything else that was going on. But a lot of rubbish. Absolute over 40 years of my life. If I had known all these years what I know now, my life would have been so different. I made really poor decisions, everything based on the fact I didn't have a thinking mind. Do you know, because it was switched off with my anxiety. I was making really bad life decisions as well. And you know what? I think it's really important for people to know you're not made wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. Your body's reacting in the way it's meant to react, and you can change it. I think that's so important.
Do you know what? For me, I think that every single school in the land should teach these techniques to children, and it should be something that's ingrained in our whole society. Being able to actually deal with stress quickly like that and bring yourself down. Why is it such a big secret?
Well, that's why I was doing my family workshops. So it was children aged 3+ before lockdown with a parent, and we would do it with groups of parents and children. So it was teaching families, actually, because do you know what? It's not just the individual; it's taking it into the family. Mm-hmm. Because if somebody has anxiety in a family, it sort of ripples out, and everybody starts to get a bit tense. But if you actually all learn this together and teach it to children, they never really get to the stage where things go wrong, because they understand how their body works and they know what they can do to make the changes. And yeah, it's like a preventative measure, actually. Educational. You're right.
Yeah, it should be something that's part of the curriculum in every school. Right, guys, but we're about to start class. Let's all self-regulate. Wet noodles.
I love the wet noodle.
Children would just be so much more focused. Let's start off their school day with that.
If you think alone, that it switches your thinking brain back on. After 8 to 10 seconds. One thing you need when you're in school is your brain to work. To be able to retain information, and your brain works more accurately with your relaxed body. So yeah, how important is that? So they should be doing it, really. It'd be a good positive to start doing in school.
Yeah. Do you know the one thing I used to love at school? I'm sure that everybody had this, but you had the carpet. Yeah. Like at the front of the school.
Oh, right. Yeah. Of course.
At the front of your class, you had the carpet, and everybody would come away from their desks and sit on the carpet at the blackboard. And I always remember sitting on the carpet and always wanting to lie on the floor. And the teacher would always be like, "Get up, Stephen, sit up straight, get up, sit up straight." But like lying on the floor has always been something that's really helped me if I feel stressed. I remember in the days where I used to drink, because I hate the feeling of being drunk. Me feeling drunk, it really stresses me out. So I would lie on the kitchen floor with my face against the floor to try and feel better, because I just can't stand the feeling of being drunk. So it's interesting that though, isn't it? Where
I like lying on the floor.
Yeah.
I have no problems like in my living room just lying on the floor. I would probably enjoy it. I can stretch out, get comfy, and it just feels right. Don't know why, but I like it.
I remember being at my grandparents when I was young as well, and we would put me and my sister, we would lie under the coffee table, and we would put a blanket over the top of the coffee table, and that was
it
was the comfiest place in the house, lying on the floor.
Yeah.
So I suppose we were wet noodling, weren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
And right through school, I've been wet noodling, like lying on the floor and getting down there. So yeah, interesting.
Fully relaxed muscle body. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah. Chantel is saying, I look forward to 9:30 every day. Thank you, Chantel. That's lovely of you to say. And Diane, you are doing an amazing job now, though, Susan, teaching from all you've experienced and helping loads of people now.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you.
I suppose that's definitely a massive thing. You know, for me, it's Susan's not just trained in what she teaches. It's Susan's got lived experience of what she teaches, so she's able to teach people and help people. I suppose teach is the wrong word, isn't it? Because you're not really teaching. You're that gentle guide. You're that person.
I like to think I share, and then people can make their own choices what they want to do with what I'm sharing.
Yeah. Julie's saying there that I agree. This is something that every school should have.
Hello, Julie. I know Julie.
I do. But see, starting that school day though, with just bringing stress levels down, starting your working day, bringing your stress levels down. How many of you got up this morning and thought, right, I've got homeschooling to do? Or how many of you got up this morning thinking, right, I've got loads to do today, and you've actually forgot about the one thing, and that is managing how you're feeling in a way of stress, I suppose. Would you agree, Susan?
The way that we talked about it before was the best example I can think of, and you'll have heard this already, Stephen, is a parent getting up in the morning and saying, right, today I'm not going to shout at my kids. Mm-hmm. Today I'm going to do the homeschooling, and I'm going to just be the calm person that I want to be and have fun and enjoy it and make it a good day for my family. Right, this is how I want to do it. So you get up and you go in and you put the breakfast on and the kids are fighting. Right, the dog's barking, and then you just turn around and say, for God's sake, will you shut up? Right, and then immediately your day is ruined, and then you start beating yourself up because you think, do you know what, why did I do that? Now I've shouted at the kids, are crying, and what a horrible start to the day. But if you had actually done this self-regulation before you started making it, at the start of the day, before you do anything, you're starting at a good place rather than starting your day fully stressed. Because the minute you're starting your day in high stress, and the minute that you go over and the kids start fighting, you are naturally going to get anxious, panicky, and get angry. So the self-regulation bit will keep you out of that zone. Because you know what? Shouting at the kids is fully expected if you're overstressed. So that's why you've got to regulate. So it's not leaving any point of beating yourself up about it, because that's how your body and mind will react if you've got too much stress.
Yeah. You are going to deal with the kids better as well, though, aren't you? You're going to, guys.
Well, you will.
Enough of that. Not that.
But if you're stressed to the max, of course you're going to react like that. So that's the self-regulation. Is imagine it just emptying that bottle of stress, that stress in your body. So you've got more space in you to cope with things. And then if you keep self-regulating, you're just going to keep emptying that and reducing that so you can cope with life.
One thing I have to say that worked really well for my little boy, and he's always really like, wow, way up here. That is the beanbag, you know, the like
bilateral stimulation
from hand to hand. So he would be, you know, like and it just really, really helps him, makes him feel really good. It just brings him back down to a level where he's actually able to cope with things. So
you're stimulating left and right brain. So after a couple of minutes of doing that, it actually naturally calms anxiety, and it also breaks up old habit patterns as well. So it's really good.
Amazing. That's brilliant. Gina is saying there, major self-regulation takes place in our house when we start school work in the morning.
I like the smiley face on that one. Yeah.
I know, I sense a bit of major self-regulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard though, isn't it? You know, for I know we've kind of went on to the subject to children, but I suppose children and having kids at home whilst people are trying to work is actually quite a
Do you
big.
know what? It's so hard. I mean, bringing up kids at the best of times is probably the hardest and most difficult job in the world. But put into today's world and people trying to work and do their job, what a task. And people, what I would say is don't beat yourself up. You're not a teacher. Just do the best you can. Give yourself a break. Really. Absolutely give yourself a break. All this, nothing comes with a manual. Just honestly, that's the answer. Just do the best you can. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't set false standards for yourself and then beat yourself up. Just do what's possible.
Nikki and I are finding it particularly hard right now. She's at uni, but she's doing all her university learning from home right now. So she's doing all of that. She's upstairs in the bedroom at her little study area doing all her uni work. I'm downstairs in the dining room doing all my work, as well as both of us trying to give the kids their tasks for school and make lunch and make breakfast, and make dinner, take the dog out. You know, it's just some days it can be like
I think it's important to remember just do what you can.
Yeah.
And you can't do any more than that. And it's not worth putting so much pressure under yourself that you feel really stressed and ill and everybody's miserable. Do you know what? It just isn't worth that.
Yeah. I was speaking to one of my friends the other day who is a teacher, and she said, you know, like we obviously have to encourage children to learn, but equally, you know, a child not learning anything for say 6 months, it's not going to have a huge impact on the rest of their life.
No.
You know, they might be a little bit behind in their learning or whatever it may be, but you know, it's not going to have a massive impact. You know, and I suppose unless they're at that stage where they're like 15, 16, where they're doing exams and all of that kind of stuff, but none of that even matters just now either, does it?
No. It's just a time for, just really is, I keep saying it, just doing the best you can and getting through in it. You know, you can take your kids out walks. If you even like things like counting and things, you can do it in nature. You can do it outside. Stories, make up stories. All these sort of things as you go out. Don't, I mean, you can go a walk. We're allowed to go a walk. You can do that, and you can make up stories about the walk. Write essays, or I don't know, just do anything. Draw pictures on it. That's still learning, but it's creative learning. But giving yourselves the freedom to actually breathe and rest as well.
Yeah. So I think definitely throughout the day, doing all these things, these hints, these tips, you know, right, guys, hands behind your heads.
Yeah, I'm going to do that now as well.
Come on, everybody that's watching, do it. It's so good.
I want to go to sleep now.
But just doing these simple little things all day, I'm sure will really help most people watching this. And you know, it'll help your families as well. Watch where, you know, getting the kids to do that wet noodle, getting the kids to do that hands behind the head, you know, even this, hands across, hands on your belly, hands on your hips, hands on your knees, hands on your ankles. That one's a good one as well, Susan, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all touch points.
So yeah, I hope that today's session has helped many, many people, and I'm absolutely sure it has. That's us at 27 minutes past 10 already, Susan, would you believe?
It's been quick.
It is. It's crazy, crazy, crazy.
What I would just, one final thing is say, people, take all this into your family, because motor neurons in the body. No matter who you are, we all pick up on other people's anxiety and stresses. So it's important that we take it in for the whole family to work on that and learn to relax and self-regulate. And everybody starts to communicate better. You'll see the difference.
The stress is contagious, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely is.
Just like laughter's contagious, just like feeling good's contagious. I suppose choose your contagion.
Yeah, that's fair. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, we can't. We obviously we could do that with COVID. See if we could choose the contagion and turn it into the flu or something like that instead. It'd be great. But I suppose with stress we can do that. We can turn it into something that's actually really positive and change our day.
Just remember dialing it down. Dialing it down. You'll go back up, dial it down. Go back up, dial it down. That's the key. Whenever
you say the word dial it down, I can hear that do, 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 do. You know, the like people pressing the buttons on a phone.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There you go, Joanne saying time flies when you're having fun. Thank you guys. Absolutely loved this morning. Thank you, Joanne, for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you.
Who tunes in regularly as well. It's been absolutely fantastic this morning. So that's us. Came to the end of our Soul Man surgery. Susan's really busy today as well. She's
got a full day.
I'm not going to keep her any longer than I need to. But tomorrow we are going to be speaking to the very lovely Kenny Walker. And Kenny's with us every single Tuesday, and he is our health and fitness guru, I suppose. So Kenny's going to be talking all about mental wellness, physical wellness, how physical wellness can encourage mental wellness, and talking about just hints and tips on getting you moving more when you're at home. And Kenny's tips last week were, you know, every time you go and do put the kettle on during the day, like do 5 squats or 10 squats. Now I've been doing that 10 squats a day, and honestly, I think I've been doing about 60 squats a day, Susan, just by putting the kettle on. It's great.
I know. I don't know. I need to start moving my butt more. I've got a bit lazy.
I think everybody's got a wee bit lazy the way.
So. I just realised I've not got my laptop plugged in. I'm surprised it's nowhere off. How bad's that?
So Kenny will be with us tomorrow for tomorrow's surgery, and have a brilliant day, everybody. Whatever you're doing, have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you all tomorrow for Soul Man Surgery with Kenny Walker. See you all.
Thank you. Bye. 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 Bye.